Oh, welcome to Inner Fetish. I'm your host, Zeos Pantera, and when I did the tuning for this new collaboration, the SeeAudio Rinkos, I chose violence. Not just against the people that will be listening to it, but against the people who like measurement graphs. Because as I was picking different destinations, which is a Farscape episode, by the way, as I was picking tunings versus what to do with this dynamic planar composite IEM, which, by the way, $100. They kept telling me, here's the Harman curve one. Do you like this? And I kept going, no. And then they gave me, I just kept moving them away from that, like every other IEM on the earth, until it was something that, and people don't like when I review my own IEMs, but you know what? Fuck it. I cannot believe how well these turned out. And I even went as far, like, here's the thing. I've held back a little bit on my other collaborations. Like the Z12 was me taking the S12 and just going, can I have like a little bit more bass, please? Because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And sure as shit, worked out, because everyone likes the S12. Z12 is that with more bass. And then some people are still like, the S12 is still too high, and then the Z12s don't fix that. So I was afraid to fix things. With the Rinkos, with these, by the way, whoever the artist was that they got, I don't know who he is. Please, I have to reach out to Hi-Fi Go and SeeAudio and be like, who is the artist? Because I want to tweet them, because this is fantastic. Also, this is the same art. In fact, you're supposed to get a little acrylic stander, but I didn't get it because that's how life works. I'm getting off subject. The point is, these IEMs do not sound like anything else I've heard, because I'm bored. I am flush for choice. And if I get something that sounds a little bit different and a little bit off, but yet still is enjoyable, that's my favorite thing. And with all the other collaborations, I've taken IEMs that are already established brands, SA6, the Nana, the S12, and I've twisted them just a little bit to make them a little bit different, and that's fine. But the Rinkos do not exist. There is no original Rinko. There is no original tuning. They were just here's the thing. Here, this thing, here. This is what they showed me. Like, we have this IEM. It's got a dynamic driver. I think it's 10 millimeter or 12 millimeter. I don't actually know. A tuning sponge we could play with. A 6 millimeter microplanar. More filters in the front, and then a mouthpiece. By the way, there's keycaps coming also. Don't worry about that. But what I kept doing is pushing them more and more towards fun. I just want to have fun. I don't care if it measures properly. I don't care if there's weird phasing issues. I want an IEM that when I put it on and wear it for 10 minutes, something comes out of it that I've never heard before. And that's these. And it is fucking crazy, because the 10 millimeter is making low end. And when I asked for the higher bass version, when they gave me the two tunings, that means the 6 millimeter is also making low end and handling all the treble mid-range stuff. So there's a blending of the two, but it's not perfect. And that imperfection is why A, they measure poorly, and B, why they do shit that I've never heard in an audio device. So, what was I just listening to? Intergalactic from the Beastie Boys. These have better bass than the OH10s. For those of you bass heads out there, congratulations, Zeos has made you the IEM. For those of you who are not into bass, turn it down. I thought originally that these two ladies represented the dynamic and the planar, or the dynamic and the planar, take your pick. But really, it's good and evil. These IEMs can be as good or evil as you want. Because if you lower the volume and you just play them at like a normal nominal level, like it's like having the loudness switch on an amp. You don't know what that does. Loudness switch just brings up the lows and brings up the highs, so you can play it quieter and still enjoy a full sound. But what happens is, and I'm going to swap out from the tubes and the Geshelli and the Aoun, and they had this on all night. This thing was sitting here getting warm. What happens is, it's like you have two IEMs playing in your ears at the same time. Double. Not one and one. One and another one. So you've got a planar set of 6 millimeter and a dynamic. And when they all start working all at the same time, your brain gets overwhelmed. Sounds happen in places farther away than just way out there. But that's only when they're in the dynamics frequency range. When it moves up and from low end to sort of like the mids and highs, it goes from the outside driver to the inside driver, and you can feel that. The only way I could describe, I thought of this earlier today, the bass punches you. It's physically moving from somewhere to somewhere closer, and it's the same frequencies, or barely. They're just barely coming across. I think my favorite amp, and they're not super amp dependent. I definitely hear a difference between these amplifiers. This is a super high output impedance. This is a warm solid state. That's a cat. This is tubes. This has the crazy op amps. So they all sound different, but not bad. So that gives, I was even testing them on my phones, just 3.5 millimeter. By the way, here's the wire they come with. SeeAudio labeled 3.5 millimeter twist, 12 pair. It's not 12, it's like 12 wire. Some absurdly nice wire for $100 IEM. I'm not using it just because I want to use a balanced set. I don't believe they're going to offer this as a balanced, but that's easily fixed with a Chimera cable. Boom. Look at this case it comes with. Good enough for a wedding ring, in my opinion. You get the waifus galore. You get the two on the box cover. You get the stander on the back, which, again, I'm supposed to have the actual plastic stander. This will be on the waifu hoard, the wallpaper hoard, and I'll tweet about this on April 7th, which is when you should be seeing this if it's public. You also get that, which has a little stand that you could actually... Hold on, stand up and get it. Look. So you can put it on your bedside table and know that Rinko is watching you always. Also, since Rinko is one girl, I'm assuming she's schizophrenic, which is kind of like how I feel while listening to these. But, the tips. So I did all my tuning back and forth and back and forth. And then I started playing with different tips because I have the gamut of tips. I have spin fits. I have Symbios. I've got Taconis. I've got everything else. And I like the Symbios the most, but they said they don't have a foam-filled silicone. And I'm like, well, can you make one? Because I'd like something like Symbios, but softer. And they were like, let's see what we could do. So here are the render tips, my new tips. I now make IEM tips, or at least I could put my name on these. And they're sort of strange. Number one, I didn't pick the colors because that is Crayola's old bad flesh tone / tan. We've got black, and then we've got cooked salmon pink. Maybe uncooked salmon pink. I don't know. All I know is the large is pink, the medium is black, and the small is tan. And that's just how it's going to be until I ask them to change the colors again and maybe add 2 more sizes. Because if I'm going to do tips, like a full range, I kind of want to make a medium large and a medium small because I find the medium just a little bit too small, and I'd probably go with a large and a medium large. We'll see. The future is coming. Either way, you're getting sets of these with the Rinko. Where the fuck was I? Sound? Okay. Let me change off of this and get into... There are 2 wolves inside everyone. And both of these wolves are insanely good IEMs. Because they're playing sounds at the same time, slightly off, and that takes a second for your brain to get used to, but then it adds this like weird, wild depth. I found even going from like this to this, that instead of width-wise, the actual change in impedance going to a tube was bringing the width forward. Like, that's nuts. I don't think I've ever heard that before in an IEM. The impact of... What was that? That was just a jet flying by in a Simpsons song. You know how companies are bullshitting you about, like, oh, we've got surround sound in our headphones and IEMs? This is the closest I've ever heard. And this is physical. This isn't some DSP. This is just there's 2 drivers millimeters apart, and their timing and frequency correlations are just slightly off, and they're just, whoo. So things go from left to the same frequency and then fades out again, it's nuts. The clarity also of that planar, that 6mm planar, is just delivering all the treble I've ever wanted in an IEM without hurting me. That's another thing. If Zeos is doing a collaboration, now that I can yell and scream and stamp my feet like a little pissed off 16-year-old girl at her party, like, I wanted no more treble. That's what I'm doing. The treble on these ends perfectly. There's just it puts you in a space that shouldn't physically. It's unnatural. It's a bad thing usually to say. Usually you want to say, oh, these sound so natural. These sound so lifelike. They sound real. These sound unnatural, fucking otherworldly, and just insane, because there's just sounds happening that is completely artificial. We're in a space that doesn't exist. This Korn song, Clown, starts with the sticks hitting, and I've heard this song 100 times. I've heard all these songs hundreds of times, and every time I put a song on, I want to listen from the beginning to the end, because there's shit I've never heard before. And it's not because it's pulling detail out. It's not like a $50,000 set of, Sennheiser HE1s that can squeeze every micro detail out into your brain. These are $100 IEM. That's not the price point you look at for that. At this price point, I wanted something that doesn't exist. And now it does. And what it's doing is taking you and putting you into multiple dimensional. It's what's the word for it? What's the word I'm thinking of? Not microacoustics, psychoacoustics. Thank you. Because I'm a psychopath. It actually is tricking your brain into not knowing where the sound is coming from, but in a way that does not dull or exaggerate like treble. Like you're not getting shot in the face with treble. And the bass, when a bass is happening, it isn't just like, oh, it has more bass than OH10s, therefore it's bloated bass. I couldn't get it out of this bass knob here. It's a doubling of the bass, and it's a spatial change of the bass. They're the most fun IEM. And of all my collaborations, this is the one I'm most proud of. This is the one that took me the most time. This is the one that I put the effort into the tips and not the looks, because they're just very boring looking, by the way. In case you couldn't tell from the thumbnail, I think they're trying to compensate a little bit by just slathering it with waifus. And if you don't like waifus, I've seen some people on Reddit, which I'm still banned from our audio file and our headphones, by the way. It's fine, badge of honor. But people are like, why don't get this whole waifu thing? What do people want to look at teenage girls? Which, first of all, they're imaginary, so they could be in any grade you want. Or not go to school because they're literally got wings. I don't fucking know. Throw the box away, all right? I don't care. Just these could come in a Ziploc bag and still be my favorite fucking collaboration. They're small. They don't have any stupid lumps like the Death on Ray Tender did. The nozzle sticks out perfectly far to get way in your ear. Look at the space between the tip and the wire. You need that. I'm looking at you, Meze Advar. God damn, it was so good and so painful to wear. I love these. They've got my name stamped into the top of them. It says Zeos. If you don't love them, wait. Just wait. Here's the thing. You could just wait. They're going to be on Amazon. They're going to be on AliExpress. They're going to be on Hi-Fi Go. They're going to be everywhere. And all you got to do is wait. Because reviewers are going to get them. And reviewers are either going to say, hey, these measure poorly, therefore they cannot possibly be good. Or reviewers are going to get them and just listen to them and say, hey, did you hear these? They're fucking the words fucking insane are just going to come out. It's going to be it, because they don't make any sense. But what you really got to look for is the comments. The people out there, the people who bought them. Because my patrons were sent, we sold 40 of these at half cost, $50, to all my $10 patrons. Because Brand was so scared of going against the grain this hard that they needed to know from like a group of people that could sort of, don't get out there too much and don't, send it off to the fucking anybody else had sent it. They needed to know from a trustworthy bunch of people who aren't afraid to tell me, Zeos, you suck, which by the way, that's my $10 patrons. Hi guys. They're not afraid to be like, oh, you're fucking wrong. I trust them in that. So when they bought them, and they got them 2 weeks ago, the overwhelming response was, what the fuck did you do to these? And I'm only going to take maybe 10% or 15% credit. I made the tuning decisions, but the build of these, the SeeAudio decision to put a planar in with a dynamic and then have it as adjustable as it was, that's them. These wouldn't sound, I couldn't just yell at any other IEM and be like, and have it sound like this. This is specifically something SeeAudio was able to pull off. So big fucking round of applause for them. Yeah, no, I think the Rinkos, I can't even compare them to like $1,000 IEMs because they don't make sound like anything I've ever listened to, and I've listened to quite a lot. So if you do pick up a set, thank you. If you want to wait until other people have touched it and reviewed it, that's fine. It makes no never mind to me. If you want more waifus on things, well, we got to talk to other companies about that shit. But yeah, I'm done. I want to keep this video relatively short. I'm excited. I'm an excitable human being. I'm excited to have tips, the render tips, which by the way are named after Summertime Rendering, because that show was fucking amazing. Are great other than the colors, but you know what? Silly colors sometimes work. I want to thank the waifus. I want to thank the people who picked this wire, which I think is a pretty standard SeeAudio wire, but look how nice and neat that is. Are we done here? Anyway, if you like the Rinkos, come back to this video. Or if you hate the Rinkos, come back to this video. Comment on it. Tell me it's shit. There'll be another video for these on the main channel, which I should probably film now, so everything's all set up, although yeah, Hago mousepad will probably only be for you guys in Inner Fetish, because you guys, you're special. We're about to hit 10,000. We're probably gonna hit 10,000 when this video comes live. It's gonna be fantastic. Anyway, I'm done, you're done, we're done. Thank you for getting me here and allowing me to yell at companies hard enough that they'll actually make my dreams come true. And I'll see you in the next one. Hope this wasn't freaked out. Was it freaked out?